Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, September 12th. So we have the moon in Aries all day. This is a fiery energy. We are aggressive, we're assertive, we're a little bit impulsive as well. And if we're not careful, we can push ourselves over that line of passion and inspiration into irritation, frustration, and maybe even a little bit of anger. We're still very much in the full moon energy, so things are still feeling pretty intense. We do have this shifting out of the low and slow, painful, grief-like energy that came up for us when the moon was in Pisces in order to release that particular energy and prepare for new chapters. The moon in Aries is a little bit more looking forward, more about the challenges, the obstacles that we have to face, and tapping into that warrior spirit that we have to have in order to overcome the challenges, the pain, the trauma, the suffering that definitely came up for a lot of us under that full moon in Pisces. So there are 11 different aspects here today, and 8 of them involve the moon. We have Mercury, who is retrograde in Libran energy, making an aspect with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure, who is in Virgo energy. Now, this is likely going to give us a little bit of a perspective while looking back, retracing our steps, revisiting some topics and themes very connected to our personal relationships and our own self-worth. Now, Mercury, who rules over the mental plane, information and communication, retrograde has us looking back in order to figure out how it is that we want to move forward. Venus, being in Virgo, is all focused on what is broken, what needs to be fixed, where can we improve our own health, our own wellness, our own confidence, our own self-esteem, so that we can return to a state of wholeness. Now, yes, Venus is very focused on relationships as well, as she is the ruler over the Libran energy that Mercury is currently retrograde in. But she has decided that in order for her to be her best self in relationships, she has to return to her state of health and wellness and wholeness before she can expect other people in personal relationships to meet her where it is that she's at. Again, realizing in the Libran energy that Mercury is currently in, where the energy exchange hasn't been fair, where it hasn't been balanced, what it is that we need to do, either, switching up our perspective, having those heartfelt conversations, or just taking different actions in our daily realms in order to take care of ourselves first, what it is that we have to switch up, what it is that we have to change in order to build stronger foundations within taking care of ourselves and, of course, sharing ourselves with other people. The moon is going to make an aspect with the true node. The true node, of course, is our soul's path, our soul's destiny point, trying to get us on the right path to where it is that we can fulfill our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. Now, the moon in Aries is ready to go. The problem is that we don't know where to go. And the problem is that if we're not careful, we're going to go ahead and jump the gun, and that is going to lead to creating a mess that we do not need right now. What we have to do is think very carefully, very thoroughly. We're in Virgo season. We need to analyze each and every single step that we are about to make. This can be hard for the moon in Aries, seeing as we're a little bit spontaneous, we're all fired up, we have a new initiative, we have a new passion, a new desire, we have a new direction that we want to take. We just haven't thought it out. And again, this can put us in a crossroads situation where we have to take a time out, not only to figure out what it is that we feel inspired to pursue, but what it is that logically and practically makes sense to us, and how we can formulate a plan, a strategic plan that will actually see an ending point. Again, one of the downfalls in Aries energy is that we just jump in and we waste all kinds of time and energy, and we never see the end goal. So we have to think a little bit more long-term and strategic on how it is that we're going to pour our time, energy, and attention into building a very safe and secure plan for us to actually move forward. The moon is going to make a very harmonious aspect with Venus. Now, this is going to put us all in our feels for good reason. This is going to inspire us, kind of motivate us, give us a new determination, if you will, on pursuing the things that we know we have to pursue in order to make ourselves feel better. This Venus in Virgo energy, again, very focused on the health and wellness of us as individuals, before giving our energy, our power away to other people. Now, the moon being our heart space and Venus being the physical entity of our heart chakra, again, physical body, physical circumstances, routines, relationships, money matters, those are all very much this materialistic realm topic and themes. We are making progress on being fired up and inspired to take a new direction. This moon in Aries definitely gives us a pep in our step. And because this is a positive aspect that the moon is making with Venus, we are having some aha moments. We are kind of fueling our heart space up with a brand new fire, and we are kind of positioning ourselves to be determined and motivated, inspired to make things happen, to do what is right for us so that we can do what is right for the people that we love. Now, here's where things get a little bit intense. We have the moon in Aries coming up to, bumping into, sitting next to, teaming up with Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, Chiron is retrograde in Aries energy, and just as much as Chiron exposes our wounds to us, we also have the resources, the knowledge, the wisdom within us in order to heal said wounds. Now, this can unfold in a couple of ways. In the positive light, we can see where it is that the wounds are alive and well, and we can come up with a plan in order to heal that, to push forward through those challenges, through those obstacles that we're being faced with emotionally, mentally, physically, in order to overcome said wounds and, of course, turn that pain into power. Or we could tap into the shadow element of this particular energy, and we could be irritated and frustrated. We could see anger and all kinds of not so nice thoughts and feelings rise to the surface, illuminating where it is that we are still very wounded and where it is that we're struggling to kind of muster up the courage and the bravery to go ahead and start pushing through those obstacles. This can be a little bit of a poor me, victim mentality type of emotional situation if we're not careful. What I would like to say to you is that we have the power to allow this energy to manifest in its most positive light. So if you are finding yourself on the lower realm of the emotions, the vibrations, the frequencies of this energy, just recognize where this particular pain and trauma and suffering has been divinely scripted in order to push you into your greatest strength, into your mission, into your purpose, to overcome, to heal, and to move forward. Venus then goes ahead and bumps into Chiron in a very positive way, which would suggest that we are solving some of our problems. We are recognizing where it is that we have to heal certain issues within ourselves, likely connected to our own self-worth, our own self-value, our own self-confidence and self-esteem, because Venus, of course, is the goddess of love and beauty and worth and value and pleasure, but all of that energy has to start with her first. The cup has to be filled up to the top within ourselves before we can go ahead and share it with others. Now, Venus bumping into Chiron in this way is showing where it is that we are making progress, where it is that we are improving, where it is that we are pushing through some of the wounds, some of the pain, some of the challenges that we've been faced with in order to heal not only the relationship with ourselves, but again, the relationship with the people that we choose to share our lives with. Now, keep in mind, Mercury is retrograde, which means that there's a lot of past topics and themes coming up for a revision, and we are seeing it from a different set of eyes. So having this kind of backdrop of all 6 planets being in a retrograde means that we are having to really face the past in order to gain a better perspective and understanding here in the present moment, which is going to help us build a stronger foundation moving forward into the future. The moon bumps into Uranus, the great awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy, really shaking things up in our inner realm, showing us where it is that we have some fears around letting go of certain aspects of our lives that, of course, we created in an attempt to provide us with safety and security and a comfort zone. But now recognizing where it is that certain elements need to be kind of shook up in order for us to realize that these attachments are actually preventing us from moving forward. Where we built four walls, creating a comfort zone for ourselves, is now looking a little bit more like a prison. And having the moon in Aries means that we are fired up, we are ready to move forward, we're not looking back so much. And this Uranian energy can really open up our minds, open up our heart space, open up a new perspective and understanding on what needs to change, where it is that we need to adapt to change a little bit more, where it is that we need to break free from some of these unhealthy attachments that are preventing us from moving forward. And overall, this is just a flash of inspiration. Might not feel that way because, again, we're kind of being shook up in all the wrong ways here, but a shakeup is needed in order for the cards to fall in the way that they need to fall to get us back on the path that is going to keep us most aligned to our mission, to our purpose. Keep in mind that 6 planets in a retrograde, retrogrades are nothing to fear. A retrograde is an opportunity to realign with our highest selves, with our highest mission. But that also means that with that comes great change. And again, many of us are not really as open to change as we need to be, especially when we're praying for a different reality to manifest, but yet we won't let go of the elements that are needed to let go of in order to create the space for these new elements to actually have a space to be built. Now, midday, we have a very interesting, I'm going to say, clash of energies. The sun in Virgo bumps into Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Aquarius. Now, what this is going to bring up for us, first of all, is a very heavy energy, likely some anxiety, likely a little bit of restlessness. If you haven't listened to the ascension forecast for this week, you should definitely go ahead and do so. We kind of lay out the physical symptoms that we can expect when certain energies peak throughout the week. And this particular energy is definitely going to feel heavy and weighted and bring a little bit of anxiety into our physical bodies. Why? Well, because the sun is shining a bright light on what it is that we need to do, what it is we need to change, what it is we need to embody, what it is that we need to pour our time and energy into. It's in Virgo energy, which means that we have to create order where there's been chaos. We have to see where things have been broken in order to come up with a solution on how to fix them. Virgo energy is the problem solver of the zodiac, which means that, yes, we have to be all up in our headspace, all up in analyzing the details of our minds, of our heart space, of our physical realms. We also have to keep in mind that Mercury rules over Virgo season, and Mercury is now retrograde. Now, here's the thing. The Saturn energy rules over roles and responsibilities. And right now, this particular interaction is going to put us in a tough spot because this is almost like we want to have fun. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to have the attitude of gratitude. We want to be present and really kind of just find peace and harmony in this moment, even if we have to pluck out the silver linings of some unfortunate circumstances. However, this Saturn energy has us so freaking focused on the roles and the responsibilities and our commitments that it's kind of sucking the life out of the present moment. We're almost worried about what it is that we have to do, taking us away from this present moment of things that we should just be kind of making peace with and sitting in what a little enjoyment we can pluck out of certain circumstances. Even more than that, it's almost like we start to doubt ourselves. Again, the Virgo energy is very analytical, very highly critical and judgmental of oneself and the circumstances that we got going on in our lives. And because of this kind of slows us down from taking action, from making moves, which can feel very frustrating, can feel very, much like a block. But what I will say to you is that it's not a bad thing to be held back and blocked and restricted in order to give us a time out to rest, to recalibrate, to realign. This is what all of these retrograde planets are trying to offer us in this opportunity. And sometimes constantly pushing forward, constantly trying to be better, constantly trying to think of the next move or, the next chapter can be exhausting. And there's a lot of, I'm going to say, blessings that come into when you allow yourself to be present in the moment and not constantly pushing yourself to do all the things on your to-do list. Sometimes when we're just at peace in the present moment, regardless of what's going on in our exterior realms, that's when moments and ideas and inspirations just come into our highest mental plane and really inspire us and really kind of give us a new energy to push forward when the energy allows us to do so. But this particular aspect between the Sun and Saturn definitely feels like we're in a stalemate. It feels like we're trapped. It feels like we can't enjoy ourselves because we have so much to do. It feels like we are constantly pushing ourselves to be better, even though we're exhausted. So take this opportunity, instead of looking at it like you're being blocked and challenged and stalled out and you can't enjoy yourself, try to take this opportunity as a sign to rest, to take a moment, to just stay present in your body and see the energy, see the emotions, see the ideas that flow through you when you're connected to the here and now. We have the moon sextiling Saturn shortly after. Now, this is a very good energy. This means that whatever timeout or whatever frustration, whatever obstacles and challenges kind of slowed us down, it made sense to us. Now we're feeling inspired. We're feeling motivated. We're feeling determined to do what we have to do to build the bridge from where it is that we're at to get us to where it is that we desire to be. But this isn't like doom and gloom energy that we were feeling earlier. It's not like we're feeling the weight of the roles of responsibilities and commitments on our shoulders. It's almost like we are pepping up our step, like we are tapping into our warrior energy, and that we are now willing and half excited to embark on this journey to overcome these challenges, to push through these obstacles in order to actually get to where it is that we desire to be. And this is a super good energy for us. This is kind of like renewing our soul, our spirit, the fire, the passion, the desire within us in order to, tackle those roles and responsibilities, those commitments that we've made that can sometimes suck the life out of us, can tackle them in a light that actually motivates us and inspires us to not only do a good job at doing what it is that we've committed to, but overcoming whatever challenges and obstacles that we felt like we were facing earlier on in the day. The moon is going to bump into the sun in such a way that would provide us with an opportunity to kind of see where it is that we're in a choice point, where it is that we can use our inner realm knowledge and put it in action in our physical realms to prove that we are not only getting the lesson and learning our lesson, but that we are willing to make the change, even though it might be hard for us to actually make. But here's the thing. Sometimes, especially in this particular energy, sometimes we need to be angered and irritated and frustrated in order for us to say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I want to break this cycle. I'm willing to do whatever it takes in order to bust free of some of the constructs, the restrictions, the blockages, the challenges that I'm tired of facing. Sometimes that is the fuel that we need in order to keep our inner fire lit, passionate, driven, motivated, inspired enough to actually do what we need to do to make the kind of changes that we technically are kind of nervous and afraid to make. So the moon in Aries is trying to pep up our step and fire us up. This is like our inner hype girl coming out to kind of, encourage us to do what we have to do to move on instead of being so connected and attached to the past that we're more focused on the future. And the sun, of course, shining a bright light on this, and in Virgo season, in this Virgo energy, what it is that we need to build for ourselves, where it is that we have to be a little bit more disciplined in order to create routines in our lives, in our daily tasks and chores, to make sure that we're not only, meeting the goals in the roles and responsibilities that we committed to, but making time for ourselves so that we can keep the scales within ourselves balanced, so that we can fix some of the problems that we've identified are, preventing us from moving forward, and that we can take care of ourselves while we take care care of other people. So this is kind of like motivating us, even though it might feel like a struggle within. This particular tension and pressure is pushing us to say, you know what, screw it. I'm tired of repeating the same old, same old. I'm ready to fix this particular problem. I'm ready to switch up my routine, my life force, my energy, my attention, and pour it into something that is going to make me feel happier and healthier and in a state of wholeness so that I can be my best self for the people that I love. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Neptune. And I'm going to tell you, this is where things get a little bit wishy-washy. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, which is its place of power. And this is having a huge impact on us trying to kind of retrace our steps and see whether or not our dreams are still our dreams, to see what our intuition is trying to tell us to do at this point. And let me just say that there is going to be a little bit of a breakdown in the connection with our highest self, because the moon in Aries is very rooted in the here and now, connected to our ego identity, while Neptune is our higher selves, our soul selves, our spiritual selves. And what I will say is that in this particular aspect later on in the day, we might have a hard time trying to figure out what it is that we want to do, acting from an egoic standpoint to pursue our own passions, our own desires, what's right for us, what we think we want, we need, we deserve, versus listening to our higher self and being inspired, knowing the greater grander plan moving forward, and really kind of, disconnecting from the ego to see what it is that our heart and soul is asking us to do. And we can become very overwhelmed at this particular point, and we may just want to check out altogether because we're tired of trying to sort things out in our inner realm. Things get very, hypersensitive, very emotional. We get overwhelmed with trying to figure everything out. There's not a whole lot of answers, and we can kind of check out and just live in la la land. And let me just also say that we could be receiving some information here today that just doesn't make sense to us, logically, practically, or intuitively on a soul level either. And sometimes, because we are in a retrograde, we have to sit with this state of confusion before it will work itself out and give us this aha moment that many of us are currently waiting for. To wrap the day up, the moon is going to bump into Venus in not the nicest way, which means that we are now questioning what is most important to us. We are questioning our previous plan earlier in the day of what we thought we were going to be doing in order to heal certain wounds within ourselves. Now it's kind of like the frustration, the irritation, the confusion, the restrictions, the blockages of not being able to come up with a solution, come up with a clear-cut plan and actually take action on it right now is getting to us. And because of that, now we're kind of moving more inward, and instead of hyping ourselves up, we are kind of picking ourselves apart. Again, that Virgo energy has a tendency, if we're not in the most positive aspects and positive mind frame, to break us down. Now, keep in mind that we can break ourselves down to build ourselves up in a better way, but the Virgo energy being very highly critical, highly judgmental, nitpicking, if you will, not only are we picking ourselves apart, but we're picking apart the people that we love, the people that we're sharing our lives with. It's a very, I'm going to say, rigid energy for us. We tend to disconnect. We tend to move more inside of ourselves than connecting with people outside of ourselves. But the negative narrative right now is fueled by the moon in Aries, which again can be highly irritable, highly frustrated, even borderline angry at the fact that we aren't moving as fast as we would like into the future, that we're not able to take action and make moves in the here and now. And because of that, we have more time to sit around and think. And sometimes that thinking puts us in a negative narrative, a negative situation where instead of building ourselves up, like I said, we tend to pick ourselves apart and break ourselves down. Now, that being said, it is preparing us for a very integrative energy coming at us here tomorrow. So just recognize that the roller coaster ride, the ebb and flow, if you are feeling down in the dumps, negative Nancy, like you are having a breakdown, it is because we are preparing for a breakthrough, and we are moving further and further away from that full moon intensity, which means that we are going to gain a little bit more clarity. We are going to feel a little bit more stable in our emotions, especially when the moon moves into Taurus energy here tomorrow.